funnily enough, a federal court has concluded that Donald Trump is human and is fully accountable under the law. There is no magic immunity that means because I was president, when I was president, I can never face trial, which now means we're off to the races in multiple trials and dates will soon be announced.
Yeah, that's right. So this is the expected ruling, and frankly, it's the right ruling. You know, he was kind of arguing he could do whatever he wanted in the office of the presidency and never be held accountable for it. And this court that ruled against him said, you argued exactly the opposite when you were being impeached. You said that I shouldn't be impeached because if I've broken the law, I will just face criminal prosecution when I leave office. And now you're arguing kind of the opposite, and we see right through you. This cannot be the law. And even if it leads to more, quote, vexatious litigation, you know, baseless litigation filed just to harass somebody criminally, so be it. We don't think that's going to be a massive problem in the United States of America, but you don't have immunity for any and all crimes you allegedly committed while president. So that means he now needs to appeal that, which is what he's going to do, to ask the full circuit of the appellate court. That's your next move. He has a three-judge panel ruling unanimously against him. Now he asks the whole circuit and the D.C. Court of Appeals, will you hear it? They're going to say no, probably. And then he can go up to the U.S. Supreme Court saying, will you guys hear it? And it's not a lock that the U.S. Supreme Court's going to hear it. And if they do hear it, I think the odds are very, very stacked against him. All of it works to his benefit to the extent it delays this trial. This is a federal trial. If he becomes president, he can pull the DOJ right off of this trial, and he's saved. So that's his game plan, is like delay, 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 delay. It was supposed to start March 6th. It won't now. So all these appeals could help him, but will it help him to get the trial past November? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Like everyone, I pay attention to the polls that tell us pretty regularly that Trump beats Biden. There was an exception to the rule, and then, funnily enough, that was the one that the president mentioned. However, one thing is rather consistent in the polling, and it's not going to make super Trump fans happy that we're talking about it, but we have to acknowledge sometimes the elephant in the room, which is that a significant number of people, enough to get Biden to win, so they wouldn't vote for Trump if he was found guilty. Now, they're currently telling pollsters that they would vote for him in the straight-up matchup of Trump versus Biden, but if there was a conviction, they turn. So what is the likelihood in any of these cases that a guilty verdict, if that's what a jury rules, I don't know why I'm being so careful, they can't sue me for it, happens before November, and those people who were going to go Trump go, nah, I can't go all the way there with a convicted felon?
This does matter because Trump, the Republican Party is going to come home for Trump. They are. They did it in 2015 and 16 when he was far less popular than he is now and hadn't delivered 4 years of, you know, a stellar economy and some crackdowns on the border and so on. Never mind the 3 Supreme Court justices. Now they've got real reasons to say I like Trump, even though he's not my fave. I like him. So the Republican Party will come home, but he cannot win without the independents. And the independents, most of all, but also Republicans are saying, if he gets convicted, I'm not voting for a convicted felon for president. That's a line I cannot cross. Now, the good thing for Trump is the most likely case to go forward and be tried to completion before the election is this New York State case. It's in the city of New York. It's this very rabid partisan prosecutor named Alvin Bragg, whose complaint is Trump paid off a porn star with a hush money payment and did not document in his company books hush money to porn star. And he's charging him with basically fraud. You falsified your books by not disclosing explicitly what that was for. I mean, I don't know how it works generally, Paul, but I think generally when you're trying to pay out hush money to porn stars to not tell about your affair, you don't write in the books hush money to porn star to pay out, not talk about our affair. I don't think, I think it's rule 101 in the payoff to porn stars. But in any event, I just don't see voters holding that one really against him. So he's probably going to be convicted, and I just don't see that one being the big game changer, though the media will try to make it so. However, and that Miami case, which is very problematic for Trump on him withholding all the documents, even when under subpoena, he didn't turn them over. That one, that's just not going to go before November. It's just, there's too many things that have to be resolved. Classified documents, who gets to see them? The jury, the judge, what level of clearance do they need? How can we make sure that they're appropriate to see? Like, that's going to take forever. But there's 2 other cases. There's Georgia. That one, they want to fast track it, but right now the prosecutor's in all sorts of trouble of her own because she allegedly had an affair, well, she admits now, with her special prosecutor she brought in, and she's paying him allegedly more than she paid the other special prosecutors, though they deny it. and she could get booted off the case. And if so, it's not clear there's another DA in Georgia who will take the case. So Georgia, long shot, but could go away and at least be delayed. And that leaves us with Washington, D.C., which is how we kicked off the discussion. The case based on January 6th, whether he interfered with a congressional proceeding, among other bad things. And that was supposed to kick off March 6th, but now there's been some delay. It's probably going to move pretty quickly through this. Can I have an appeal at the full circuit? Can I go up to SCOTUS? If SCOTUS takes it, they're not going to feel the need to rush. Let's say best case for the prosecution, if they do take it, we have another 3 months to wait. All right, so that puts us where? In May? Will the case start in May in this D.C. court? Probably. She hates him, and she's going to want to put the pedal to the metal, the judge, certainly the prosecution. So if that one goes off, he's going to be convicted. That D.C. jury is going to hate Trump's guts. They voted 92% for Joe Biden. They're going to be outraged over January 6th that happened in their district. And so there's legal peril there unless he can, again, pull the inside straight, because not to get too confusing, but the main charge against Trump in that case is now being litigated in a case that has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It's other January 6th defendants who are saying the cause of action being asserted, it can be brought for this type of behavior. And the Supreme Court took that case. And if the Supreme Court says, you know what, you're right, this is not an appropriate charge, it was never meant for a January 6th type riot, and we reject this case in connection with election denialism, that'll really benefit Trump in this D.C. case that we're saying he's so imperiled in. And he could be the beneficiary of this totally other case that's being decided right now. All the things have to go right for Trump. If any one of them doesn't go right for Trump, he could definitely be a convicted felon or twice convicted felon, or even thrice before the election.